Chapter 3. Whispers in the Sunken Market. The air in the sunken market was a thick, wet blanket woven from the stench of stagnant canal water, alien spices, and the unwashed desperation of 1,000 souls. It was a city beneath the city, a sprawling, subterranean labyrinth carved out of ancient sewer systems and forgotten crypts. Rickety wooden bridges crisscrossed a sluggish, black river, and the only light came from the eerie, phosphorescent glow of moss clinging to the dripping stone ceiling. Alara hated this place. It was a festering wound in Viridia's underbelly, a place she had once carved a bloody path through. Now, returning felt like donning a soiled garment. But the whispers that could lead her to the Ashen Veil were only spoken here, in the dark, where the law's light didn't reach. Her armor, a relic of a past life, did not draw the kind of fearful glances it once had. 5 years was an eternity in the underworld. Legends faded, replaced by new monsters and fresh fears. To the new generation of cutthroats and smugglers, she was just another mercenary, her face hidden in the deep shadow of a hood. This anonymity was both a blessing and an obstacle. She needed information, and respect was the currency used to buy it. Her goal was singular: find an information broker who knew the Vale's business. In the sunken market, all such paths eventually led to one creature. She navigated the crowded, narrow walkways, her movements a silent dance of purpose amidst the chaos, until she reached a stall tucked beneath a massive, arching sewer pipe. The sign, painted in peeling, garish colors, read, "Fizzle's Curios and Whispers." Behind a counter cluttered with shrunken heads, bottled tentacles, and dubious potions, sat a goblin. He was scrawny, with skin the color of old parchment and two smashed eyes, one a sharp, intelligent black bead, the other a milky, blind orb. He polished a tarnished silver locket with a greasy rag, ignoring her presence. "I'm looking for information," Alara said, her voice low and flat. The goblin, Fizzle, didn't look up. "Whispers have a price. Lady Gold buys gossip. Jewels buy truths. What's your purse look like?" Alara placed the shard of obsidian on the counter. The carved sigil of the Ashen Veil seemed to absorb the ambient glow moss light, making it a pit of perfect darkness. Fizzle's polishing stopped. His beady black eye darted from the sigil to her hooded face, a flicker of something, recognition or perhaps just professional interest in its depth. He finally met her gaze, a sly, calculating smile spreading across his thin lips, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. "The veil," he hissed, his voice like sand and rust. "You're either very brave or very stupid to be flashing that around. Their whispers are expensive, very expensive." He leaned forward, the smile never leaving his face. "The stories about them, they make the old legends seem like nursery rhymes. Even the Emerald Destroyer never trifled with the likes of the Veil." He was testing her, weighing her worth. The casual dismissal of her past self was the obstacle she had anticipated. The legend had faded. It was time to remind him. "The old legends have been sleeping," Alara said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. She leaned in, placing her gauntleted hand on the counter next to the sigil, "and they are very tired of being disturbed." Fizzle chuckled, a dry, rattling sound. "Talk is cheap. The price is 500 gold crowns, up front." This was her moment to act. Alara didn't move, didn't threaten. She simply focused, a fraction of the raging storm within her. The power that had leveled her home was channeled into her hand. The air around her gauntlet crackled. The green, vein-like patterns on the back of her hand, visible in the gap between glove and bracer, pulsed with a soft internal light. On the counter next to her hand sat a cheap tin cup Fizzle used for his tea. Slowly, silently, the dull metal began to shimmer. Crystalline structures bloomed across its surface, delicate, intricate, and a perfect lethal green. In the space of 3 heartbeats, the dented tin cup transformed into an exquisite dact of flawless, faceted jade. It was beautiful, a thing of impossible craftsmanship. Fizzle's greedy smile froze, his matched eyes wide with disbelief. He reached out a trembling, claw-like finger to touch it. Before he could, Alara clenched her fist. The jade cup instantly disintegrated into a fine, sparkling dust that glittered in the gloom before vanishing. The goblin snatched his hand back as if burned, his face a mask of pure terror. The slime merchant was gone, replaced by a creature who had just witnessed a god perform a miracle of creation and annihilation. He stared at her gauntlet, then at her glowing emerald eyes, barely visible within her hood. The puzzle pieces clicked into place in his sharp mind. The power, the color, the old stories, you, he stammered, his voice a choked squeak. It's you. The whispers, Alara commanded, her voice unchanged. Now. Scrabbling under his counter, Fizzle shoved a small, grimy pouch of coins back at her, a panic offering. No charge, no charge. A slip of the tongue, great lady, a mistake. He was sweating, his one good eye darting around as if expecting the walls to collapse. The Veil. They're always looking for new muscle, new recruits. They test them, see if they're worthy. They run a fighting pit in the Foundry District. It's called the Grinder. Show up, prove you can bleed, and they'll notice you. That's all I know, I swear it. She had her result, the Grinder. A name and a location. Just as she scooped up the obsidian sigil, a sharp, clear whistle cut through the market's din. It was followed by the rhythmic, heavy tramp of disciplined boots on stone. A wave of panic rippled through the crowd. Stalls were shuttered. Figures melted into the shadows. The chaos of the market gave way to a tense, fearful silence. The guard, Fizzle whispered, his face pale. Thorn's dogs are sniffing around again. Alara's head snapped up. Through a gap in the crowd, she saw them. A phalanx of city guardsmen in polished plate armor, their presence anathema to the lawless dark of the market. Leading them was a man whose rigid posture and silver-cropped hair were unmistakable, even at a distance. Captain Chalon Thorn. A new, unwelcome obstacle. A direct confrontation here would be disastrous. She wasn't just a vigilante anymore. She was a walking magical cataclysm. A fight with Thorn's antijagic specialists would risk a devastating loss of control. She pulled her hood lower and turned, melting into the deeper shadows of a narrow alley beside Fizzle's stall. She pressed herself against the cold, damp stone, her breathing slow and controlled. The squad of guards marched past, their armored boots echoing with grim authority. As Captain Thorn drew level with her hiding spot, he suddenly stopped. His head tilted and he brought a hand to his temple, his jaw tight with pain. Alara felt a strange, chilling sensation, like a cold needle probing at the edges of her power. She instinctively clamped down on her magical signature, pulling the raging storm deeper inside her, wrapping it in layers of iron will. Thorn winced, his intelligent, weary eyes scanning the surrounding shadows with a hunter's focus. A power signature, he muttered to his lieutenant, his voice tight, strong, jagged, like a scream of raw, arcane energy. His eyes narrowed, a flash of a painful, half-forgotten memory in their depths. I haven't felt anything like it since the Destroyer's days. His gaze swept over her alley, lingering for a heart-stopping second. For a moment, she thought his magically attuned senses had found her. But she was a ghost, a shadow, and he saw nothing but dripping stone. With a final, frustrated glance, Thorn gestured for his men to move on. The sound of their boots faded down the main thoroughfare. Alara remained motionless until the market slowly returned to its squalid rhythm. The near miss left a chill in her veins that had nothing to do with the damp air. Fizzle had been a problem she could solve with power. Thorn was different. He was the law, incorruptible and relentless. And worse, he could sense her. She was no longer just a hunter. Now, she too was being hunted by two very different predators. Slipping out of the alley, she left the sunken market behind, her new destination clear in her mind, the Foundry District, the Grinder.